G'day fellas. Welcome to a casted game between Hang My Head in Defeat, spawning in the south of the map, playing on the French, and his opponent spawning in the north of the map, Python, playing the Swedes. Now, you might look at this matchup and think, well, hold on a minute, Sweden versus France. We know what's going to happen here, and I assure you, I probably think I know what's going to happen here as well. Now, I was sent this game by a little somebody that you may know as Don Artie. Now, Don Artie is... Unfortunately, he is left the game. He's not playing anymore. He's not motivated at the moment, and that's okay. You know, when it comes to love, love goes, love comes, wax on, wax off, all that good stuff. So he's not playing at the moment, but this was one that he sent me quite a while ago, and he said, Drongo, you got to check this one out. I think you're going to like it. And that's mainly because of Sweden. So when it comes to Sweden, you know, you guys know I love Swedish games. I love trying to find ways to counter Sweden. That way I can counter exactly what I'm coming up against. So we'll take a look at the openings, see what we find out on the map. We've got the 80 wood treasure up here, I assume. We do indeed. Now, did Python not go for that? Oh, he didn't scout it. Oh, Python. Feels terrible, doesn't it? Now, I'm curious if Don Artie's actually seen this treasure. He has actually spotted it. So Don's going to be heading over here. They both somewhat know that they're in the same region because he scouted this treasure out. The fact that there was a trading post here. So I suspect Don's probably just going to be able to steal it. Kind of curious that... Oh, both players going down quite early. I think Don's picked it up, though. Yep, it's Don who's picked it up. So no real surprise there. But curious that that Python actually went for that treasure, knowing that Don was building a trading post right here. So a little bit of a curious decision. We're gonna just speed it up a little bit and then slow it down. Hopefully that makes it a little bit faster. Now keep in mind we are playing at with the 4K, which means that you might notice a little bit of a increase in quality. Don managing to get off a snare with his Explorer, doing a pretty good job of blocking the Swedish Explorer with his own Explorer, and now beginning to slowly whittle away at the HP of the Swedish Explorer. Carl Gustav going down ever so slowly. We take a look at the Swede. We see what he's started off with. So, starting off with the 2 torps in base. He's done the torps in the perfect spot, so got them right up against these trees here, so really nice. Could have opened by just shooting this food treasure, a really good treasure, but now he's going to try and take the shot. I think Don's going to try and come in for a steal here. Let's see if he gets it. I think Don's got the steal again. Yeah, I think Don's got the steal. You saw the backpack go up earlier. Don's got the steal again. You just see the difference. Don is just an absolute beast when it comes to this kind of stuff. Now he's going to force... So, by coming in underneath the town center like this, there's a couple options that he can do, but what he's doing is he's forcing the Swedish player to go idle. Sweden's not gathering from these, and it should be. And so as a result, he's just moving the Explorer around. Now he's going to begin shooting, and he's forcing the Sweden player to idle. He's got 3 villagers in here. He's doing 27 damage. He says, you know what? You want to kill me? You're going to have to go a lot more idle than that, mate. Because, you know, I'm going to keep my Explorer. But now Don... sort of realizing, well, hold on, I'm in a bit of a tough spot here, but a fatal mistake has been made. I was going to say a fatal mistake has been made by Python, and that was that he let the snare go. So ideally in that situation, you don't want to let the snare go. But the Explorer going down for Don Artie. So Don getting a lot of idle time out of that. You can see that now the Swedish player has been delayed significantly, and that's massive. That is honestly the equivalent of like a Sweden player like having to gather an extra 200 resources, an extra 300 resources. It's a huge amount of resources that Swedish player has now got to go and gather on top of that just to get the age up in queue. We see that this is a 15 villager age up and still 200 resources away. Normally at 15 vil, you should be idleless. You should be idleless very, very easily. So it's a great start for Don. I'd say that much. But now going to continue scouting out the map. We'll have a look and see what else there is for them to spot. There's some 20 coin down here, a 40 wood, and as well as a 100 food. So probably the best treasure on the map right there, the 100 food. Definitely one of them. The other options are the Empress Zoe cookbook, which increases population by 5, and the 80 wood up to the north as well. A little bit of a 40 wood treasure around here. So let's go tune in with Don, see what he's up to. So Don just going for a 14 villager age up, a standard French opening here. He's got his native scout towards the north of the map, just hanging out, just spotting, see what's going on. Doing a bit of herding as well. Now, keep in mind, he doesn't have his market up yet. He's only getting his market now, so going to be getting up hunting dogs. We can see he's macroed quite well for hunting dogs. So definitely going to be focusing on his economy there, and some villagers now being transitioned out to the second hunt. If we take a look at the third hunt, typically on this map, the bottom player has a bit more of a difficult time. We can just see how far away that hunt gets from the town center. Very hard to get it to cross back over. When we compare it to the Swedish player, typically there's one hunt here and then another hunt down here. So a much better start for the Swedish player. Typically the hunt will spawn to the north, or to the front of the base instead of up to the top. It can happen that it does that. So when it comes to Sweden's expansion, I'm expecting that we're going to be seeing some expansion on both sides of the map. It's quite a good map for Sweden. A lot of coin mines out here. You've got some gold mines on the extremities as well. 2 gold mines, in fact. So it means that Sweden's really going to have a lot of opportunities to torp. Explorer now getting revived by Python. Trying to do it... Oh, sorry, by Don. Trying to do his best to pull that Explorer back. Explorer's revived with 100 HP. So he's done quite well in getting that timing in. Undoubtedly going to be doing his best to try and stop the torp booms from the Swedish player. But I guess some interesting decision making from Python here in this position to actually be dropping a torp this early on this coin mine. I feel like ideally you'd probably want to be like leaving this coin mine until one of the last coin mines, but I guess, you know what, it's not terrible having it out here. Provides a nice bit of line of sight. It's got a hunt nearby. It's obviously on a coin mine, so it's not terrible. But he's done, I think, 3 torps in transition. So he's done 1, 2, 3 now, dropping a barracks with 3 villages. So going for a little bit more of a safer build, I'd say. We'll take a look at his deck and spot what he's got. Very curious deck. No infantry HP, no cavalry HP. So he's got those 3 unit shipments in there, going to be helping him out. So obviously don't get the crossbows anymore with Sweden. He's got blueberries. He's also got ironworks and 7 and 600 wood. When it comes to the third age, he's got those 3 key unit shipments as well. The 5 Huss, the 9 Caroleans, as well as the 2 Falconets. He's got a fort in deck, which you don't always see as Sweden, and the 16 Caroleans in age 4 as well. So we'll take a look and just check out how his expansion is going. He's got quite a few villages across the map. So we've got one now moving down towards the south. We've got one up here towards the north. We've got one that's relatively close by to this mine here. Nothing out yet over on this coin mine, but not too bad. But I mean, you just take a look, and it's such a huge difference when it comes to the economy and the positioning of the hunts for the bottom player. This hunt down here is just very unfavorable. I mean, well, I guess we've got this hunt right outside this base, so perhaps I shouldn't be comparing so unfairly. I always feel like as the bottom player, you get stuffed around a little bit. We spot that Don's actually doing the right thing in this position. So he's going for a little bit of an opening, a little bit of an interesting opening. We see that he's only got 16 villages, so only sent the 3 villages to start with. We check his deck and see what he's sent so far. So his deck is called Baus. So for anybody wondering who the only Baus is, the only Baus is a very talented player from North America. He comes up with a lot of strategies as well, and Don Artie likes to play a lot of games with Baus. So maybe this is something that they worked out, something that they prepared. If we take a look at the deck, though, we see that there's some interesting cards in here. He's got the 6 Elmedi in age 4, as well as the 2 heavy cannons. Also got Swiss Pikes and Jaegers, so the double mercenary card. No Black Riders, though. Also got a fort in deck. A lot of forts we've seen from players recently, isn't there? You know, I guess the meta's changing a bit more to be a bit more reliant on having the forts, but now Don moving towards the south, potentially going to be spotting out this villager. Does indeed spot the villager, so that first villager is going to be going down. We take a look, see Don's doing a great job sending his musketeers onto separate sides of the map. You know, a lot of lesser players would look at this and say, okay, I found 2 torps, let's burn them down, and they would send these 5 muskets over here. That's the incorrect play. The correct play, come over here, clear this coin mine. Now, you should know, because this coin mine's actually in view, that there's no torps on it. From here, you're then moving up to the next coin mine around the edge. And as you can see, these musketeers, they're moving up towards this way. So it's doing the right thing. He's got line of sight down on this coin mine down at the south with his native scout. He's got line of sight on this coin mine. Now, he knows that there's torps on this coin mine here, but this coin mine's a little bit more difficult for him to deal with. And the reason is because if leather cannons get shipped, I mean, it's going to be very easy for the Swedish player just to be sitting in this little quadrant right here and really not have too many problems with everything that's going on. They're going to be absolutely fine. Don now beginning to siege the north. There's 4 torps up there, so torp population actually doing quite well for the Swedish player. Still losing the torps down towards the south, and look at this sneaky villager that's managed to get picked up by Don. So this villager did try and make its way through, but Don was quick on its tail. Got straight onto it, so doing a great job of just really controlling the map. Don's got to be careful. If I'm a Sweden player, I'm looking at this mine and I'm trying to get down here. This is a perfect mine. I can probably fit 1 torp here, 1 here, and 1 here before I hit that radius limit. But now we've got some Caroleans in the middle of the map, beginning to take down 1, 2 musketeers. Quite a significant mass of Caroleans. We're at 7 minutes 40 now, so it looks like the mass is beginning to build. 13 Corollians out on the field now, with a further 5 beginning to reinforce. First Torp going to be going down at the north. One Torp rather taken down at the south. The second one remains standing. But the expansion has been ceased, and that's what's important. So it's all about closing that expansion. Now, huge pop right now from Don, getting those muskets out. So muskets typically going to do quite well against Corollians in this sort of engagement. Reinforcing batch coming in now as well. So hoping to see this Explorer move into melee, get the snare on, which is kind of what's happened with the Corollians. Corollians definitely getting outmatched at this point. More reinforcing Corollians and then getting followed by more reinforcing musketeers at this point. So it's definitely a situation that it looks like the Swedish player might have overextended themselves. Thought that there was potentially an opening for them to be able to push, but Don really demonstrating why French, just in the early game especially, can do it quite a number on the Swedes. But we take a look. No further expansion coming down towards the south. No real expansion coming over towards this coin mine. Still only 3 Torps on this coin mine. So now that he's lost this, I think his real option is 2 leathers at this point. He's already shipped blueberries. I feel like that's a very preemptive blueberries, especially against a double racks. If you know your opponent's going double racks like this, probably want to delay your blueberries. Maybe send ironworks, but then go 2 leathers after. But now that leathers are coming in, think about if you'd had leathers this whole time. It's just a completely different dynamic. So now we've got the second rack slab going to begin producing Corollians for Python. Python doing quite well. His macros actually not too bad, considering I was on 111 or 120 population now, going up to 130. So a total of 11 Torps are up at the moment. So obviously one just being sieged down right now. So Don doing a great job. Lovely massive musketeers that are beginning to build up. And Don now beginning to train some pikes. Also sending from the home city Wilderness Warfare. So that's going to be increasing Kurudabai hit points by 20%, as well as native warriors, as well as skirmishes. So a little bit of a curious build. Also getting blunderbuss as well. So going to potentially be able to defend against any potential raids that come in with blunderbuss. Does a lot of damage, especially for the Kurudabai. So with the Kurudabai, they've already got a range, I think, of about 16 or 12 range. So going to be increasing that up to about 16 range. So a decent mass now of Corollians for the Swedish player, and huge mass of musketeers. Now we've got 23 Corollians and the 2 leather cannons. So the leather cannons are really going to be able to deal with this. And now we've got the villager pull coming in. 396 HP on the Kurudabai. Don Artie going for a villager pull, pushing forward with all of the villagers. Oh, look at the damage onto the freaking leather cannon. They just one-shot that leather cannon down to like 11 HP. Look at the amount of villagers that are in here. Don Artie just pulling all of the stops out right now. 27 villagers on the screen right now for the French player. A timing attack at 10 minutes coming in, managing to do a great job of stopping that Torp production and just forcing the fight right now. Don coming in, bringing those villagers in. Look how much damage those villagers do. One-shotting Corollians completely. They do 11 damage each of them, and he's got 27 villagers. It's a huge amount. He's actually pulled every single villager at this point. There's no villagers left in his base. Not a single villager left on the map. Everybody is back home at this point. He's got a huge amount of siege in his musketeers and still going to be able to chase this back. He's basically just doubled his army effectively because he's got these 16 range, 11 damage, 396 hit point beasts. So he's probably sent, he sent Pioneers from the home city. So he's got Wilderness Warfare as well as Pioneers from the home city. So a huge amount of units. A couple of villagers going to be going down. He's down to 24 villagers, so he's lost 3 villagers. Whoop-de-doo. I mean, at that point, like, look, you just see the way that he's focusing down these Corollians. We can actually check the hit points there. Undoubtedly going to be focusing down the lower health hit point Corollians. We can see the way that he moves in here. There's just so much hit points on these villagers that there's really nothing the Swedish player can do at this point. All of the muskets are beginning to burn down the town center. It's down to about half HP. He's got how many muskets? He's got 30 musketeers in here, so this is definitely going to be going down. A little bit of a love heart shape that that Don has made around the town center. Can you guys see that? We've got 1 little part, 2 little parts, 3 Hussar now coming out from the town center. Majority of the Corollians have gone down. Just a few remain. For Don Artie, he's now got 18 Kurudabai, so losing about 9 Kurudabai at this point. But killing the army of his opponent. We've got the musketeers moving up to try and deal with the Hussars. Town center going down. Going to be taking out the first villager. A couple more villagers now beginning to escape out. 3 Huss going to be finally going down as well. And going to be able to clean this up completely. So Don Artie definitely in a bit of a lead at the moment, but he's lost a fair few villagers. So down to 15 villagers at the moment. We hear a shipment coming in. It's 8 crossbows coming in from the home city. Don doing quite a decent job of of managing to clean it up, and now going to be sending in those crossbows just to try and deal, I suspect, with any potential Corollian mass that we do see. We take a look back at Python. We see what Python's up to. Python's sneaking some villagers down to the south. He's down to 13 villagers himself, but he does have torps. Now, keep in mind, Sweden is famous for its ability to cockroach. You might be wondering, what's cockroach, Drongo? What is that? It means when a player is essentially dead, but they remain in the game and they try their best to win. And Sweden is very good at it because of torps. So even though he's got 13 villagers, the true number is probably a lot higher because of torps. So each torp you could probably say is worth about 1.5, maybe even 2 villagers. So if he's got 10 torps on the map, then maybe he's really got close to about 30 villagers, maybe even 35 villagers. So it's something to consider, that even though he might look down, even though he might look out, even though that we see the scores are beginning to pull ahead for the French player, we can expect that it's going to be a little bit more difficult for the Swedish player. And now getting chased away, a couple villagers down towards the south, moving, trying their best to torp up. We have a look and see Don's still got his native scout down here and beginning to train more units. Don Artie, hunting in his opponent's base, says, you know what, I kind of need more units at this point. I've done everything that I need to with my villagers. I'm just going to do some hunting with them. Great idea, Don. Really good use of resources. Crossbows now down towards the south. Trying to get up this torp. You see it's got less than 200 health that it needs to build up. Could easily be taken up with these settlers, but unfortunately not paying attention down here. Let's see if he moves them around. Not going to be able to. It looks like he's just going to be going to try and run through the base, sending to the home, or from the home city, the 600 wood shipment now. So going to potentially be looking at maybe training some more pikes, maybe some more crossbows. We look back at Python, we see what he's up to. So Python continuing to train Corollians at this point. More Corollians coming down to the south as well. 17 Corollians in total. And random torps. No, that's an outpost getting dropped here. So not even opting for a town center. Just saying, you know what? I don't need a town center. I'm just going to go with an outpost. And now we've got some courier de bois potentially misclicking. And actually just going to be working down this villager from Python. So now the Corollians are beginning to overwhelm the small army down here towards the south. They're going to get a charge on. If they can connect, they will undoubtedly overwhelm this completely, but a little bit of an issue with the way the pathing happens. They do get a connect, but they obliterate the soldier instantly, and it means that Don might be able to get away. It's going to be tough, actually. I think the micro is pretty good here from Python. I think Don's probably just going to give it up and take what he can get from any potential losses. Don continuing to siege now up towards the north. I think that there's about three musketeers have made it out alive, so GUA will be happy. Those 3 musketeers will be reinvested, undoubtedly. We might speed it up just a little bit at this point, because I tell you what, we're entering into a little bit of a lull. Those musketeers are going to get cleaned up, and isn't that beautiful? We're at 4K, 60 FPS, and there is absolutely no FPS drop right now. It is absolutely gorgeous. I can actually change it over for you guys. You can see in the top left-hand or top right-hand corner, we're sitting at 124 frames a second right now. It is absolutely beautiful. Let's move it back over to the in-game timer. Corollians now beginning to mass up. We've got 28 Corollians, so a decent mass versus the 20 muskets and the 8 crossbowmen. So any kind of trade like this is going to be good for Sweden, because Sweden's got the torps up. They want to continue trading like this as much as they can. You can see the Don's moving back. No upgrades on these Corollians. These are just stock standard Corollians. And Don doing his best to try and micro back, but it's going to be difficult for him. I think the Corollians are definitely going to have the advantage. We look towards the north of the map. Pikes now beginning to siege down torps, and this is exactly what I talk about. It doesn't matter. You don't need 10 pikes. You don't need 5 pikes. You know, just a handful of pikes is all you're going to need to be sieging down torps. Just one here, one there. That's perfect. That's what you need. But now Don enters a difficult spot because his opponent is cockroaching and he doesn't know where his opponent is. And a torp down here that continues to be just sitting, resting, if you will, without being damaged. And Sweden is down to 6 villagers at this point. So how is he going to be able to do? Is he going to be able to pull it ahead? We see that he's actually got 2 shipments that are stacked up. Going to be sending in 700 coin and 600 wood back to back. So this market needs to stay up. If this market goes down, he's going to be in a difficult spot because he's going to be needing it to market trade. I mean, what are you going to really do with 700 coin? 600 wood, you could potentially make more torps, but 700 coin, not really anything. And now more trades coming in. Donati looking like he's in a relatively good spot, especially considering he's been able to whittle his opponent down to 6 torps. So we've got, it was rather 7 torps now, including this one. Down towards the south that remains. We've got the Explorer that's laying on the ground, just a little bit sore. We've got that first shipment coming in now, the 700 coin. Down towards the south, are there no villagers? Oh no, there's a single villager that's down here to gather this coin up. So a little bit of a struggle, I would say, right now for Python. You can see that the scores are definitely beginning to closen up. Python needs to... He's actually woken up and he's realized, oh, wait a minute. All right, I got to do that. So ideally, what I'd love to see Python do at this point... See, now these pikes come down. This is what I was talking about. These pikes are just so pesky. You know, just a couple pikes down here are going to be able to siege these torps down. And it looks like Don's going after the villager. Villager going inside the outpost. Going to be able to get inside. Looks like he will lose his pikes if he commits to this tower. So definitely a good idea to sort of back out from here. More Corollians moving down towards the south, trying to catch these French units. Unfortunately, these oh my gosh, look at this. No, Don. Oh, Don, don't do it, Don. He's going to steal his resource crates. Don sending in 3 French crew de bois to go take the resource crates of his opponent right now. And all his opponent can really do at this point is just watch, because that's a lot of resources. Don's going to be stacking up plenty of resources with this. Up to 21 villagers now. Don in a great spot. So, but now we've got the next villager pool coming. Don says, hey, you know what? These guys have got 400 hit points on him. Bring it on. And that's exactly what he does. Now, Don's going to be careful not to lose these villagers. These are the ones gathering up resources. Corollians moving into melee. Going to begin charging on top of the musketeers on the back line. Looks like the majority of the musketeers are going to be going down, but the remaining crew de bois are going to be able to deal with it, I suspect, quite effectively. The pikemen continuing to siege down this outpost, down to 700 hit points. Corollians are not too bad. We'll take a look how many are here. And there's 21 Corollians in total. So despite my suspicion that the Corollians were going to be dealt with by the crew de bois, it doesn't seem that that is the way. Crew de bois now moving up into melee, saying, you know what, let's fight fire with fire. And that's exactly what happens. We take a look at the Swedish player. He's got 8 pikes that he can be sending from the home city. Probably a good idea for him to be doing it.
I got something to report to you.
X8 Sunbro coming in with the T1. Strong Swedes indeed. Sweden looking pretty decent at this spot. Looks like they're going to be taking out 1 crew de bois. 2 more still gathering up this wood. They've definitely earned their weight. Their weight's worth in coin. They've undoubtedly gathered it up. And the crew de bois just looking very, very strong. Very potent at the moment. Still not sending in those 8 pikes from the home city. And we go back to Don's perspective. Don double training pikes at this point and says, you know what? We're going to do some more sieging. So Don probably thinks that his opponent has sieged up or torped up the entire map. He's reached a point where he doesn't really have a lot of line of sight. He's got line of sight up here, but only very fleeting line of sight. We take a look. He's still got a bit of a fight unpacking down here, but says, you know what? We want to take this outpost down. We're going to burn it down with our crew de bois. So impressive stuff from Don. Now got those musketeers out. I suspect that we're going to see the crew de bois begin to cover for the muskets. The muskets probably going to be sieging and the crew de bois moving off to potentially fight. It looks like he's actually just grouping everything up together and says, you know what, we'll take it out. We'll take it out all together. So Don definitely hanging his head in defeat at the moment. But I suspect after he takes down this outpost, he might be hanging it down in victory. It's definitely one of those games that it could go either way at this point. Now more pikes at the north of the map. Going to be burning down these torps. We see that the market's finally gone up, but a couple of idle villagers for the Swedish player. I tell you what, he'd be really after those resources that he sent in, but so unfortunate for him that they were picked up by Don. That would have been game-changing for him. You know, think about it. That was like the equivalent of 1,300 resources. So take 1,300 score off Don. That would be 5,500. Give it to Python. That would be 5,100. These players would be basically even at this point if those resources had gone over to Python instead of over to Don. But now a torp going to be going up. It's a curious spot to torp, I'll say that much, especially when you've got pikes right on top. Yeah, I think he's realized now and finally sent it back. I suspect we're probably going to be seeing more pikes down here coming any second now. Where's Don's pikes? He's got musketeers that are moving back. Pikes that are heading towards the base, potentially going to be... We actually did see the waypoint for those pikes. Going to be sieging down these houses. Don's got to be careful, though. His Explorer's on full HP. Going to begin snaring. And looks like he's probably going to be able to clean up these pikes. Or clean up these Corollians, rather. Corollians getting a nice little bit of a pull. A nice bit of a speed through here. There's 5 more Corollians. So probably advisable for Don to move back at this point. Corollians now entering into melee combat. Finally cleaning up this coin mine at the top. But all pikes now moving into cover mode. Doing their best to try and come around. We can see that they're in cover mode because of the way they hold their pike up in the air like that. That means they're in cover mode. They're also in a nice fancy little circle up here towards the north. Cover mode reduces the incoming damage by 50%. incoming range damage rather, so it doesn't really help out with the Corollians, especially if they get into melee. But now we've got more Musketeers coming out for the French player. We take a look back at Sweden on 5 villagers now, so losing another villager. Let's take a look and see, where are those villagers right now? I don't even know where they are. They should be up towards the north. They are. They're up towards the north. Gotta be careful when you're hanging around coin mines like this, but still Sweden is in this. Despite having 5 villagers and 5 torps, I don't know. I say Sweden is in this. Don's pulling ahead at the moment. We take a look. Don's on 21 villagers. You know what? Sweden is not in this game at all. I think it's only a matter of time until this game gets called. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit. Isn't that just so beautiful how it speeds up like that? Don doing a great job of just chasing down those final Corollians. I don't think there's going to be any more Corollians that really come out. We've just got a single Corollian. Don trading very well with the Corollians, and the game is finished. Fellas, I hope you've enjoyed this game. In this game, we've seen the death of the Swedish Cockroach. Don pulling out the big villager rush. If you've enjoyed this video, I encourage you, leave a comment down below, thanking Don Artie for his creative playstyle. If you've liked the video, leave a like. And once again, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.